Ladies and gentlemen, this is Pernell Bobby, your astrotherapist, helping you to alleviate suffering, all while leveraging astrology. Today we're talking about Cancer in the 8th house. It's going to be a little bit more broad, but I'm going to kind of include Cancer in the 8th house, Chiron, Vertex 8th house in Cancer, okay? Mars in Cancer, which is our sex drive. And we're looking at, I had dreams last night, okay? So we're looking at what does a sex dream with a friend look like? Or just even a sex dream with a person, a sex dream with a family member, a sex dream with a stranger. I'm gonna try to cover a couple of these, and this is primarily for Cancer in the 8th house, okay? 8th house being part of our hidden desires. It also being our sexuality and what that could look like and what we might need to feel basically emotionally safe. When I count Cancer, requiring emotional safety in order for it to be full of energy and direct and like, boom, I want to go for you. And even with that said, like, let me start off with the dream that I had so we can use it as context. Definitely, if you're here, like this, please go ahead, drop the like if you're already interested now. If you're not subscribed, do that. If you're looking for any consultations or any interpretation with your own dream world, I have links down below where you can go ahead and book an AstroTherapy session with me. So please do that. Reach out to me. Email if you necessarily need it. So 8th house is wherever 8th house is at. It's like where we're going to have really deep research type abilities. We're going to have the ability to research. So now you add Cancer in that 8th house placement. It's like you have the ability to research people's emotions. You have the ability to see beyond the initial veil, okay, into somebody's heart, into somebody's complete emotional world. Now, with Cancer, what's also really important is to understand that it can be at times, because the emotions are run by the moon, which is always changing every 2 to 4 days. It changes zodiac signs. The moon is like, look, your emotional world can create a certain sense of ambivalence, okay? Be very unclear. You can be very unclear emotionally because the moods are so switchable, they're so changeable. However, you are pretty much dumb psychic, dumb intuitive, okay? And so it all depends on what your placements look like, and I would have to look at your chart. But let me tell you the dream, if you happen to have a sex dream with your friend, or a family member, or a stranger, or anybody, okay? Let's try to break some stuff up. For starters, the person you had a sexual dream about, okay? All right, let me tell you my dream. I want to keep it personal. So last night I had a dream with a friend. Now, I've had dreams about people before, but what made this one unique was I did kiss this person once in my life. And let's say a sexual encounter was pretty much in the making. It was getting ready to happen next. But then I caught myself just stopping. I caught myself just being like, no, like pull out. And I wasn't actually in to pull out in that fashion, but pull out like, Pernell, go home. And so this is interesting because it's almost like a year ago, and even like 2 years ago prior to that was the last time I can remember having a sex dream. Not about the same person, but that was the real life scenario, okay? Now, a year or so later, I look at this same moment and I'm like, okay, like this person's in my dream. We had like super duper passionate connection, okay? The drive, the enthusiasm, the experience that was shared, it felt emotionally satisfying, okay? Now, afterwards, I caught myself essentially looking to barter with what betrayal looked like for me. Okay, I'm talking right now from a place of like, I have a Mars in Cancer, 8th house. I have a South Node in Cancer, okay, 8th house. A Vertex in Cancer, 8th house. And so what does this mean? We deal a lot with the past. We deal a lot with nostalgia. Right now, the moon is transiting Cancer as well. So it's like, that's going over Pluto in Capricorn, opposition, causing tension. So it's like, in order for something to be revealed. So Cancer is a placement of extreme nostalgia. No matter where you have Cancer at, you can imagine nostalgia is going to be an important piece. You have 8th house, you could talk, this is underworld. You could talk sexual traumas. You could talk sexual desire. You could talk sexuality in something that is transformative. Your sexuality could be transformative. And I caught this in my life. And because I was talking to a guy yesterday who happens to be interested in transgender women, right? And we were talking and I told him like, look, like, you know, one, I was happy that he was brave enough to go ahead and just like speak this talk on our therapy session. And that ended up turning into like, okay, well, great. We're going to go ahead and go live about these topics that need to be discussed. And 8th house is a very transformative house around these aspects. So when you have dreams, like what I had with this dream with this person, what was critical was I caught myself bargaining for emotional acceptance and intimacy. Okay, 8th house is a house of intimacy. Cancer is a house that a person that requires intimacy. Okay, it's like they want to possibly cuddle before and after. Now, when I catch myself and I think of my own personal sex life, it's like the cuddling joint not really, it's not like, I get weird. I get weird with the whole cuddle part after. Now, again, this is partially because I have Chiron in the 8th house, where that intimacy and that, not just Chiron in the 8th house, but also Chiron, also Cancer in the 8th house for Chiron, but also Cancer in the South Node in the 8th house for Chiron. So it's like that South Node, it's like, it puts me in a place where like intimacy and the need for proximity, the need to be close to somebody is kind of like rejected, right? And what I require from people on an emotional level, it's like, it almost feels like there's this bargain that needs to happen. And that's what this dream was revealing, where it's like when you have sex with a person, don't put so much emphasis on the person itself, okay? Because that is just like, these dreams work like oracles. It's not necessarily a direct interpretation. What's really happening is saying that like with this particular person, how our relationship transformed, again, we didn't actually do the do. How it transformed is like, this is a person that I really trust. This is a person that I feel like I can confide in. This is a person I caught myself crying on the phone and I don't even fucking know why, like 3 or 2 different times. And I'm like, whoa, what's happening? Like flood of emotion. So let's say like I feel emotionally safe with this person. I say that as a Scorpio rising, where it's like, you know, to be like, crying with anybody is like, you gotta be somebody. So when you have a dream about somebody, understand that this person in your dream is helping you because you generally you feel emotionally safe with this person, which is why you shouldn't really stress it when you dream about, let's say, having sex with a family member. Okay, that could be like, what the fuck, this is weird, right? We have dreams with a friend or a best friend or an ex-lover. Okay, oh my God, like what the fuck, what does this mean? Does this mean I love them? Does this mean that I have regrets to be shared? Whatever that is, it's like, it's not the person itself, rather you likely trust that person in that dream that you had sex with them. So this is one aspect of it, right? And it could be helping you explore part of your subconscious or your unconscious pattern. All water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, they deal with the unseen. They deal with the subconscious mind, the subconscious programming. They deal with the things that are esoteric in nature, okay? Hidden. Now you add 8th house. The 8th house requires us to search those hidden nostalgic memories in order for us basically to transform. So I know my life right now, like I'm getting ready to go through a brand new stage. I know that I'm transforming. And one of those things for me is like, I'm looking more for intimacy. I'm recognizing and I'm having discussions with people on the phone in different times. And it's like intimacy, a family, okay? Creating a family, being intimate with somebody in order to actually create a family. These are topics of discussion that are pretty much relevant in my life right now. So this dream, what was interesting was, when I said I was bargaining with the person, afterwards, this woman did not cuddle with me, okay? And I caught myself cleaning the room and like making the bed, and she was like gone. And then like the hotel staff came in, who basically was gonna be the one to clean the room, but I was like already doing it for them. But what I was recognizing was I was kind of bargaining and negotiating and thinking that I needed to give something in order to receive emotional intimacy. And in my waking life, what this dream was able to help me to do, the dream I had with my friend, who I trusted, who I felt emotionally safe with, was basically telling me like, actually, no, like recognize that you don't need love and intimacy to be transactional. And I grew up in a family dynamic where I feel like love is transactional. It's like, look, I give you this, you give me that. Where it's like, this works well in business, this works well in investments, but the thing is, we're consciously aware that I'm giving you this service in exchange for this monetary value or in exchange for X, Y, and Z. Now in love, I had to realize like where my life did like that I allow that to carry into my romantic life, into my intimate life, where it's like love in the unconditional facets, which a Cancer would need, especially being a highly sensitive, emotional person, a very highly sensitive empath, right? Especially even with Scorpio rising, it's like all these Cancer 8th house is like, they want the deepest level of emotional intimacy. Understand that the crab, the Cancer sign, has been alive for 65 million plus years. It's like, it requires a deep emotional intimacy, somebody where they're willing to kill, okay? 8th house, death. in order to protect their partner, to protect their emotional investments. So what am I saying overall? What I'm saying is this dream was helping me to realize how imperative and how emotional intimacy is non-negotiable. Okay, it's non-negotiable. My requirements for proximity to somebody, to be able to share the deep dark secrets, to be able to share these the depth, okay, the depth of my own unconscious patterns, my own unconscious mindset, in order for me to basically feel more and more emotionally safe, to get to the point where I go from, ew, I don't really want to cuddle with you, to like, no, actually I do want to cuddle, but I just need to recognize what requirements do I have in order to feel safe first. And what this trusted friend that I had sex with in my dream was showing me, because they ended up coming back, but they were they came back and they kind of like looked at me, and they didn't really, actually they really didn't say anything in the dream itself. But what was understood from me was, damn, I wish that I could have cuddled with this person. I wish that I could have stayed close to this person, okay, even after. But she kind of did what I would normally do and got up quickly and was like, all right, let's go, like mad awkward. All right, let's go. You want to go cook breakfast? Okay. It's like I still wanted to be close with the person, but I didn't want to be close with the person. You know what I'm saying? It's like I still wanted them in my dwelling. Let's say like real life sexual partners. I would want them in my dwelling. I'd still want to be with them. I still want to be around them, but I'd be like, let's go for a bike ride. I'd be like, let's go. You want me to cook you some breakfast, right? And I was hiding how I really desired, okay, 8th house, Mars, our desires, our sexual desire, our sexual cravings, our wants, our needs, okay, especially the emotional ones with Cancer. I was basically expressing how I require non-negotiable, especially in my forward moving relationships, that level of deep intimacy, that level of deep emotional honesty. And for me to recognize in what ways did I feel ashamed for wanting such a thing, and what ways did I feel it was only possible if I was transactional forms of love, transactional forms of emotional intimacy, which is not me. It's not me. But when you add 8th house in the South Node, Cancer South Node, 8th house, what is it saying? It's saying I'm kind of walking away from that, right? I'm walking away from the dependence on who the people I trust the most. But my Mars was still in the 8th house in this life, where it's like to really reverse how I look at that. It's a different level of complication, because what happens is Vertex in the 8th house is basically saying, and Cancer, Vertex and Cancer in the 8th house is now saying, hey, look, you can see the emotional needs, wants, and desires, and even the sexual requirements, the hidden elements, the esoteric meanings behind what people really mean. Not necessarily what they say, but what the emotional tone of what they're feeling. As a Vertex in 8th house, or any Cancer in 8th house, it's like you can see beyond those layers, even when people aren't telling up front. But it's also important to not temper my own personal needs, my own personal emotional requirements, and put, let's say in this dream, the person I trusted, that I had sex with, the person I trusted, not put their needs first, whether that was they needed their room cleaned or not, whatever. But to realize, like, I have to express and not be so ambivalent. What do I want? What do I need? What do I desire? This is ultimately the little wrap up. Definitely, if you're looking into books and services with me, look and check the links down below. My calendar is open if you want to do some dream interpretations, or if you want me to go through your own personal natal chart and do a reading with you, an AstroTherapy session. I'm open to do so. I'm pretty much blessed and honored to be in this position. To interpret dreams, to interpret the unseen, to interpret the esoteric and hidden desires of what you want, what you require, and help you make sense of this. This is how I'm helping you to alleviate suffering, and how I'm doing it while leveraging astrology. So thank you for liking this button. Press that like, hit that subscribe. If you're first, you're brand new. My name is Pernell Bobby, your AstroTherapist. This is such a relief to be able to come across this understanding. I don't want you to panic when you have sex with your friend. And there are other things that I would like to do, a separate sex dream. But that's on another day. I'll see you soon. Ciao.